Don't you hate it when someone tries to pretend to be something that they're not? When someone puts on this front or this image pretending like they're this new thing? I certainly don't like it. And in fact, I can really appreciate when someone just does a good job at being themselves, when someone really does their best to just do what they do best. That's pretty much how I feel about the new AMG S63. Unlike a lot of new cars in Mercedes lineup that are trying to be something that they never were, the S63 is developing on a tried and true formula and simply making it better. Sure, it's incredibly expensive, just like the S63 always has been, but in this video, I'm going to talk about why it might be worth it. Now, the standout feature with this new S63 is that it's now a hybrid as standard. And yes, I know the words AMG and hybrid haven't necessarily led to great things when sharing a sentence, but trust me, this is probably the best example of AMG using a hybrid setup in a car. But we'll talk about all that stuff a little bit later. For now, let's talk about the exterior design of this car, because that's where Mercedes has really won me over. And that's because it looks pretty freaking similar to the already good-looking S-Class. We've got the signature S-Class silhouette, the AMG grille, the normal taillights. Everything here is just super normal. And I had a friend comment about this car's design and how he feels like it's just a bit too plain for over $200,000. And to an extent, I can understand where that comes from, but I feel like with the S-Class, that's almost the whole point. The S-Class's design was always never about screaming your financial status to someone on the road. It was always designed for the more subtle person of affluence who didn't need that constant road validation. That's kind of what the S-Class design philosophy has always been about, at least to me, and I feel like this one continues that. Overall, this is a great example of how to make a newer looking version of your car without completely changing the design. Take notes, BMW. Now, I feel like Mercedes has done a lot of things right with the interior on the S-Class. And if you look around, you may notice something a bit contradictory, so to speak. And that's the fact that this car doesn't come with a hyperscreen. But if you bought an EQS, which is effectively the electric S-Class, then you would be getting a hyperscreen in this car. And so I'm not really sure why Mercedes decided to take this route with the standard model, but my guess is that they wanted to take a more elegant approach with the interior. And the hyperscreen may be cool to some, but elegant isn't exactly the word I'd use to describe it. The standard 2-screen setup is just a lot more simple and easy and will definitely keep your interior a lot less fingerprinty, which is something you definitely can't say about the EQS. Now, we all know the S-Class is the luxury pinnacle of Mercedes before you hop into a Maybach, and so all the standard S-Class stuff you would expect is here. But there are a few specific features that are new and kind of specific to this car that I want to highlight and run through. First things first, the gauge cluster. Now, you may be thinking this is just a normal gauge cluster, and you are right. But you are also wrong. It's pretty much impossible to see on camera, but with just a click of a button right here in the corner of the main display, you can activate a kind of Nintendo 3DS effect on the gauge cluster. Why did they do this? I have no idea. And what functional purpose does it serve? Also, I have no idea, but it's cool. I'm glad they did it anyway. I just wish a camera was able to capture it on camera and you could really tell the difference, because it honestly is noticeable in real life. Very noticeable. Next is the speakers. Now, this car is optioned with a $6,800 Burmeister premium sound system that has these crazy rotating tweeters. It's sick. But the coolest thing about this system is that you now have some sort of subwoofer / vibration motor, haptic feedback motor inside of the seat that plays along with the music. So you can literally feel the bass in your seat. That is something I did not expect to feel when I started playing music in this car after I got in it for the first time. All these high-end luxury car manufacturers have some sort of 3D audio mode for their sound system, but Mercedes said, screw it. We're doing 4D. Another cool feature that's actually been in other Mercedes vehicles, but it's in this one too, so I just want to point it out, is, well, we all have to fart in the whip sometimes, right? I think it's just a part of our daily lives. At least it's a part of my life. I don't know about y'all. But if you happen to have to do this and are having a passenger in the passenger seat, there's a solution to make it potentially less painful for them. And it's in the glove box. This is a little fragrance canister that you pop into this slot, and then you can activate and have it circulating throughout the entire cabin with a simple voice control command. It's that easy. You can actually screw this off and dump out the fragrance that's already in here. So theoretically, you could put your own fragrance in and have it circulating throughout the cabin. A fart fragrance. No, I'm kidding. Don't do that. That's nasty. Don't take any ideas. And lastly, I'm a fan of this new revised ambient lighting system that we've got going on in the S-Class. And in terms of software, all of that is exactly the same as it has been in other Mercedes, but the physical lighting itself is definitely different. There's more of a gradient to the actual light itself, and it's a subtle but very nice change, and I like it a lot. It feels a lot more mature. But what you should really check out is the back seat, so let's dig into that. This is an incredibly long sequence. Okay, we are in full recline mode. This is nice. This is nice. I guess I will commence a massage now. Is that the word they use when you're rich? Commence? I think this is the massage button. Oh no, no. Okay, I canceled the massage. Okay, how do I massage myself? I'm too poor to figure this out. I will say, this pillow situation, this is 100% doing it for me right now. This is so comfortable. I could fall asleep right now. Matter of fact, I think I might just take a nap in this car later. Honestly, it's that good. Like, it's super comfortable back here. I don't know. This might be better than the 7 Series. Honestly, this is pretty nice. And when I don't want people to talk to me, I can just raise, oh, wrong window. I can just raise my peasant blockers, and then no one on the outside, aka poor people, which I am definitely not one of those guys, will be able to talk to me, which is nice. I like the seclusion. Another thing to point out is that you get headphones included with the backseat experience for this car on both sides. So 2 pairs of the headphones, they're the same. And compared to like a lot of other vehicles, like the Escalade is just one that comes to mind, these are actually really nice built headphones. I haven't actually tried them and like see how they sound just yet, but like these are like Sennheiser quality level headphones, whereas like the headphones you get in like an Escalade or something are pretty boo-boo. Like they're pretty ass, honestly. They're not great headphones at all in terms of build quality or really sound. These are like actually nice headphones that I think a lot of people would consider using outside of the car. So that's definitely a bonus you're getting with this car, especially versus like the 7 Series, which doesn't come with any headphones as far as I know. So just like a lot of other high-end AMG vehicles, I'm not going to use the M word because then the voice assistant is going to come on and interrupt my recording. Just like a lot of other high-end AMG vehicles, they're using this Samsung tablet situation to control either the left or the right back screen. And one thing to point out is that this took like 3 minutes to fully boot up. So it's like, if you're gonna buy a car that's worth this much, you could at least include like a tablet that has like the latest OS, the latest like processing power, because this is like 2013 level slow in terms of how long it took to boot up. And it's kind of choppy. It's not super smooth. You can see it's pretty smooth up there. So like when I scroll, it's like pretty smooth. But down here, it's a little choppy, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if it's really getting it on camera, but also the resolution is like really bad. This is like 720p at best, I think. And if this were, you know, a not $200,000+ car, then I wouldn't be nitpicking like this, but it feels a little lackluster, and I feel like, I don't know, maybe they should stop using Samsung tablets for controlling the backseat entertainment experience. But if I want to take this out, I can hit this little eject button, and then it'll kind of just pop out like that, and I can just use the tablet like this. And as you can see, yes, it is a Samsung tablet, a very bad Samsung tablet. But yeah, this is really all you can do with it. You're basically just controlling the same stuff you would be able to control from the driver's seat, except you are in the back and able to do backseat things and enjoy yourself in the back seat here. Honestly, there's not that much use to this, and what I've been trying to figure out is how to get a massage going. So let's try this. Hey Mercedes, activate massage for rear right seat passenger.
I'm starting the massage for the rear right seat.
Ooh, okay, that did it. That did it. We are in massage mode. We are in massage mode. It feels pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. So far it's really focusing on like my lower half of my body. I'm not really feeling it right here, right now, but maybe it'll come on later. But okay, that's nice. The voice control actually was helpful in this situation and allowed me to, you know, get my massage going. This is pretty sick. This is nice. All right, I think I'm gonna fall asleep and then we'll pick up a little bit later. Overall, backseat experience is pretty lit, I'm not gonna lie. The 7 Series just feels like more of an exciting car because you have the big 8K screen in the back if you option that. You've got the screens inside of the door handles. It just feels like a lot more exciting, especially like if you're a little kid who doesn't care about like the elegance and the way things necessarily look versus just having stuff in the car, no matter where it is and how it's portrayed in the vehicle. But this is just a really nice experience, and I could totally go for just someone driving me up front and I'm just back here chilling like a villain, you know, because this is definitely like a villain car for sure. Yeah, this is like a solid 9 out of 10. All right, let's give it a go with the launch control. This is an 1,000 pound-feet of torque V8 hybrid, so I'm expecting like a 3.4 at like the absolute worst. I'm expecting a pretty good number with this car. I've seen Car and Driver do like a sub 3 second 0 to 60 run, so let's see what we can do. Okay, that was a little rapid, and the car did go a little sideways there, but let's see what we did. All right, we got a 3.09 on the dot. Okay. Wonder if we could do better. Let's try that one more time. All right, restart number 2. Once again, had to fight the wheel, but kind of felt the same. I wouldn't be surprised if I got pretty much the exact same time. Maybe even a hair slower. 3.07. Okay. I'm not mad at that. The driving experience is really why you buy the S63 version of the S-Class versus just an S580 with a bunch of options. And I'm pleased to report that the AMG DNA is still very well infused into the S63. We have our classic 4-liter twin-turbo V8, which is still good for all the pops and bangs we know and love when you put this thing in sport mode, but we also now have an electric motor in the rear and a 10.5 kilowatt-hour battery pack, which not only gives you a total output of 791 horsepower and 1,055 pound-feet of torque, but an extra 15 miles of range if you need it. And those are some crazy power figures for an S-Class, and that total output of power essentially makes this the most powerful super luxury sedan you can buy right now if we're not talking about electric vehicles. This car weighs 5,500 pounds, which makes it one of the few vehicles in the world that weighs more than the new BMW M5. And that's a heavy car for sure, but when you have 1,000 pound-feet of torque, that 5,500 pounds ain't too bad. In terms of performance, what the electric motor is doing best is just giving you the perfect amount of torque fill before the turbos fully start spooling up and giving you the maximum amount of performance from the engine. And it's not gonna give you that crazy off-the-line acceleration that you would get in like an EQS AMG, for example, which is fully electric. But it does truly make a difference in terms of the way this car takes off the line. It's certainly faster than what you would have gotten in the previous S63 or even an S65 with a V12. There are certain vehicles where the hybrid setup doesn't make a world-changing difference in terms of off-the-line performance, but you can certainly tell that it's doing so here. This car, like I said, is 5,500 pounds, which is a heavy car for sure, so that electric motor is having to put in a lot of work to get this thing going, but it does so in a way that's noticeable and satisfying. The turbo V8 in this car pretty much has the same engine characteristics of what you'd find in the AMG GT, the SL63, and the G63. Once you're past 3,000 RPM and are at full throttle, you're going to be going very fast in this car. These engines are still very capable, but the E-motor setup just makes it even more capable. And sure, the S-Class is even heavier with the E-motor setup, but the S-Class has always been a heavy car. Now it's just an even heavier car that can do 0 to 60 in 3 seconds flat. I'm not complaining. So like I mentioned earlier, you can drive in fully electric mode for about 15-ish miles. And for a lot of people, that may be close to useless, but given that this setup was kind of designed to be a half and half between efficiency and extra performance, I'm not too mad at it. This is better than what you'd get in like a performance-focused car like the Corvette E-Ray, and definitely worse than what you would get in like a Porsche Cayenne E-Hybrid or even the BMW XM, which has about double the electric range of this car. But the thing for me is that the S-Class's standard comfort mode is already so serene and quiet that it doesn't feel that transformative when you put it into electric mode. The biggest difference for me is just not feeling gear changes. In a car like the Corvette E-Ray, which uses a pretty loud, naturally aspirated V8, you can use the stealth mode to leave the neighborhood in the morning without waking anyone up. But with a car like the S-Class, it's already pretty quiet, and so even without the electric mode, you probably wouldn't be doing that anyway, unless you throw it in Sport Plus and start hammering on the throttle. So in that regard, this mode is kind of useless, but even still, I think having the hybrid setup in this car makes it a bit more multifaceted from a performance standpoint versus just throwing a turbo V8 in this car and then tuning it up to put out 800 horsepower and 1,000 pound-feet of torque, because that would definitely be a lot less efficient, especially on gas. So I am pro V8 plus hybrid in this car. In other cars, I don't think it makes the most sense, like the AMG GT E-Performance. I'm not sure if that car makes a whole lot of sense, but in this, I think it makes a lot of sense. At the end of the day, this is an S-Class, right? So sometimes you'll just want to chill and drive. You don't want to have it in Sport Plus, you know, banging on the throttle and downshifting, upshifting constantly. Sometimes you just want to have it in comfort mode and chill. Well, this car is still very good at doing that. It isn't quite 7 Series good in terms of the ride quality, but you have air suspension and adaptive dampers to make this a very chill and enjoyable ride for long distances. You have rear axle steering, which makes this car decently maneuverable in tight parking situations and on windy, bendy roads. And then the overall noise isolation is just very good. It's a very chill and refreshing ride, especially for long distances. You've got heated, cooled, and massaging seats in every seat in this car, which is great. The steering is just light enough to be easygoing, especially in comfort mode. And then when you don't want to steer, or at least on the freeway, you can put on the assisted driving mode, which can essentially take over everything in this car as long as you have your hands on the steering wheel. It's just a super enjoyable ride. If you don't care about having the most capable 4-seater luxury sedan in terms of performance and handling, its acceleration, then I still think the 7 Series is better value for the money, especially given how much less expensive it is, even when you factor in the higher performance versions of the 7 Series. But if you don't care so much about that, you want something that's decently quick and capable, but are mostly focused on having the most comfortable and serene ride possible, then I'd probably go 7 Series. That's probably where I'd go. But if you want the most performance capable luxury boat, the S63 AMG is still the king. After spending a little over a week with this car, I can confidently say that this is the best new AMG that's currently on sale. And not because it's the fastest or the most capable on track or it's the best value. It's simply because it does the best job at being itself. This car is everything you love about an S-Class dialed up to 11 with enhanced technology, performance, and comfort features. It's ridiculously expensive, but if you got the money, I think it's ridiculously worth it. But you know what isn't ridiculously expensive? carswithmiles.com merch. This is just one of a few designs we have available on the website, carswithmiles.com. If you want to support the channel, that's an easy way to do so, and I'd greatly appreciate it. But that's going to be about it for this video. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for future content like this. Comment your feedback. It's always appreciated. Also, subscribe to the autofocus channel, because if you haven't already, I'm going to be doing reviews over there from time to time. So definitely check out that channel as well. All right, time for another massage.